Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. As of course, as usual, I'm recording this Tuesday night, so it's probably an hour and a half or so before we go live. But I'm sure we're going to have an interesting time tonight. The comments in the last couple of days have been interesting, to say the least. After yesterday morning's video, I gained a net of 10 subscribers. So I guess more people agree with doing this the right way rather than the off the cuff way, as an overwhelmingly number of comments agree with me that violence is not the way to solve the problem we currently have. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you all the same thing I told one supportive subscriber when he emailed me yesterday. Now, mind you, this subscriber is also an attorney, so I'd consider him an intelligent man. Okay. He wrote, I have a question for you. I'll jump right to the point. I'm not the sort of person to call immediately for violence, but I'm also not the kind to completely remove the option. Have your adversaries removed the option? That's an obvious no. If there is no stick, how well does the carrot work? Good question. Okay. My answer was just as succinct. Okay. And I will read you my answer. And he appreciated my answer, and everything's good. So that was good. But this is what I said. I am not, repeat, not anti violence. There may be a time for that. We just aren't there yet. My point is, we don't want to be the ones firing the first shot. That will ultimately play right into the hands of the left. They will blame any war on the right if we do that. They are going to try anyway, but if we can prove to the people that we were not the ones to incite violence, the people will be on our side. I think all Americans are sick of war and certainly don't want one here on our soil. I think the NWO and the World Economic Forum know this as well. That's why they are trying to bait patriots into getting violent. You notice that it's not the politicians calling for action on the left. They're letting the useful idiots do the dirty work for them while they sit back and grin. Should the left start seriously attacking, think mafia-style tactics, then absolutely, they will have started a war, and then we will be justified in fighting back. That, folks, is my stand. That violence is not the answer, at least not yet. Okay. I had another commenter write, and you may have seen this in the comments, and I'm going to read this one to you verbatim. Okay. This is after watching the video where I said, if you don't like it, leave. Okay. His comment, yeah, if only the patch-wearing people of the early 20th century Germany had used the tactic of pacifism. Oh, wait, never mind, hang on. I'm going to think of a time in history when pacifism won a war. Give me a minute. Okay, I'll have to get back to you on that. Well, sir, let me enlighten you with a bit of very recent history, with a few examples. In 2003, in the country of Georgia, a former Soviet republic, there was this little thing called the Rose Revolution. The unrest began after an allegedly fraudulent parliamentary election. The opposition accused the victors of vote rigging and stealing the election and took to the streets. That doesn't sound familiar to me. They demanded that then President Edward Shevardnadze, who had led the country for more than 30 years, resign. Mr. Shevardnadze refused and deployed soldiers. When Shevardnadze attempted to open a new session of parliament, protesters stormed parliament as well. The man, Shevardnadze, who claimed to be the rightful elected president, was rushed out of parliament and later resigned. Opposition leader Mikhail Saakashvili was elected in his place. There were over 100,000 protesters. The protesters fought with roses, which they gave to the government forces who were in place to fight back the protesters. The most impressive thing about Georgia's Rose Revolution? No one was injured or killed. Zero. Nada. Zilch. Let's try this one. One of the more important days in modern Portuguese history was the Carnation Revolution. This was a military coup that took place on April 25th, 1974. Famous for toppling an authoritarian government and ending fascism in Portugal with barely any violence, it also led to a new democracy. Characterized by an authoritarian government, it was a time of censorship and oppression and maintained by a secret police force. Prime Minister and dictator Antonio Salazar suffered a stroke and leadership was shifted to Marcelo Caetano, who ruled for 6 years until he was thrown out by the people. The overthrow was named as such because flowers were offered by civilians who joined the rebel soldiers in peaceful civil resistance. Even the officers' guns had flowers poking out of them. Death toll? 4. Need another one? The Velvet Revolution was a nonviolent transition of power in what was then Czechoslovakia. This occurred from November 17th to December 29th, 1989. Popular demonstrations against a one-party government of the Communist Party of Czechoslovakia included students and older dissidents. Okay? The result was the end of one-party rule in Czechoslovakia and the subsequent dismantling of the command economy and conversion to a parliamentary republic. On November 17, 1989, riot police suppressed a student demonstration in Prague. The event marked the 50th anniversary of a violently suppressed demonstration against the Nazi storming of Prague University in 1939, where 1,200 students were arrested and 9 were killed. That was in 1939. The 1989 event sparked a series of demonstrations from November 17th to late December and turned into an anti-communist demonstration. On November 20th, the number of protesters assembled in Prague grew from 200,000 the previous day to an estimated 500,000. The entire top leadership of the Communist Party, including General Secretary Miloš Jakeš, resigned on November 24th. Death toll, 1. So, don't tell me that nonviolence can't make changes in a government. There are 3 examples that have happened in most of our lifetimes. My point is this: if we get the numbers, imagine 500,000 people standing in front of Congress like they did in Prague. Okay, and mind you, Prague or Czechoslovakia is a country about the size of Indiana. Okay, so extrapolate that to the size of the United States. Okay. Let's let Antifa counter protest that one. Okay, they'd be a speed bump, period. All right. Imagine Nancy Pelosi's face seeing that. Imagine Nancy Pelosi's secretary saying to her one morning, "Madam Speaker, we got 15,000 emails overnight saying the same thing. You might want to look into that." Face it, guys, with numbers, people can make a difference. Not everything requires violence. History has proven that. There may be a time where we have to get that far, but we sure damn well ain't there yet. Pinball out.